press on the left key, drag until you get the second variable, and then click on the second variable. That will give you an arrow. And when you connect the last variable, the color will change. Is your drawing ready? Or we start moving? Oke, admin sudah habis. Okay, your connection arrow is still working. So if you want to come out of the connecting, just click the arrow select. Now you don't have anything, right? So it works. So one of the other things I like to do is instead of using the color, we will change the color from click the more themes, black and white, and apply. More themes, black and white, and apply. Get a better window, right? Okay. So now the variable name is latent variable 2, latent variable 3, latent variable 4, and latent variable 1. So if you run the model, these are the labels you will get. To change the label, you can click on the circle. For those who are using Windows, you can press F2, okay, F2. Or for those with Mac, you can right-click and rename. Right-click and rename. That will give you like this, right? Okay. So the first variable is price, right? So type price. Right-click, second variable, advertisement. Third variable is hours. Last one is time scale. Okay. What we have done is we have changed the name of the variable. So we have price, advertisement, price sales. So I want to move it a bit so that it's up here. So we have 3 independent variables, 1 dependent variable. So that's how the software understands your drawing. When you have single item, there's no arrow pointing from the circle to the item or from the item to the circle. Single item. When you have multiple items, then only the arrow changes whether it is from the construct to the item or item to the construct. At the moment, they are all single item. This is how you can model secondary data. Okay, secondary data. So for primary data, normally you have multiple items to measure the construct. We need to have each variable with several items, right? That we will do tomorrow. So today we are doing single item, which is similar to what you do in regression. So 3 independent variables, one dependent variable. Click this arrow to save first. Click the arrow to save. Okay. So after you have saved the model, can you go to UMT1, the project name? UMT1, the project name. Not this one. So after you have drawn the model, and if you want to copy, if you want to save this file into a pen drive, or you want to save it and send to your supervisors, you can do that. Right click on the name. You have export project. Okay? Export project. So when you click the export project, you see the file name is UMT1zip. Okay, so they will save the file as UMT1zip. Okay, so now you can send that file UMT1 to another person. They can import the drawing plus the data in one file. Okay, that's a good thing about exporting the project. So if I'm working with another co-author, normally I request them to send me the project file already zip up so that I don't have to redraw and attach the data. I can run the analysis. So that's how you can export the project file. If you want to copy and paste this drawing in your report, what you need to do is right click, export image to clipboard. Export image to clipboard. That will create a temporary file. And now you can open any software. Let's say I try a Word file. What we do is just paste it. You get a drawing that you can label as figure 1. Okay. So the drawing is quite nice with the new version, quite sharp. Okay, it looks clear. Yeah. Any questions on exporting the project file and exporting the drawing? Okay, exporting the drawing. Before we move on. Any questions? No question? Okay. Okay, Dr. Yus okay
Okay, Prof.
The rest okay tak ada soalan so far. Okay, so that's how you draw the model, attach the data, label the variable names. If you want to export the project, you can export. Okay, again, this if you want to export the project, you have to be on the project name. Project name. If you're on the drawing file and you export, this export project will not come up. Okay, because you are in the drawing. So remember that. So if you want to duplicate the same folder into another file, you can also do that. You just click copy, right click copy, and then when you paste, they will ask you what is your new name. So you can put UMT1A, UMT1B, right? And that is to duplicate the drawing. So that's. Okay. After we have saved the file, to run the analysis, we have two buttons we can use. One is calculate here, calculate, or you can also use this button here, calculate. Okay, here calculate, or this button here, calculate. So I prefer to use this one easy. Calculate Pls algorithm. This is the first thing we will do. Pls algorithm. Okay. So once you run the Pls algorithm, they give you some dialog box with the explanation. You don't have to change anything because now they have already set for you the best possible combination. When you are cleverer later, you can do whatever you want after you do some reading. At the moment, we will follow the default. The only thing you need to change is here. You click down here, now yours is open full report. Open full report. Right? Just change it to click here down, close calculation dialog. Close. That's the only thing you need to do. Okay. Just click the start calculation. Start calculation. So you will get some numbers appearing. So I will explain what those numbers mean so that you are clearer. From the circle to the item, if the item is from the circle to the item, if the arrow is going from the circle to the item, we call this as loading. If the arrow goes from the item to the circle, we call them weights. Okay, so everything is explained by the item. Once you have multiple items, the loadings will range from 0 to 1. It can be negative, it can be positive, but the number will always be within 0 and 1. That's how you look at the loading weights. Loading weights. From the construct to the construct, we call them path coefficient. Okay, path coefficient or beta coefficient. In the literature, we have two types of path coefficient. One is the standardized, the other one is the unstandardized. In this software, they only give you standardized beta coefficient. Okay, standardized beta coefficient. In software like AMOS and SPSS, you will get standardized and unstandardized path coefficient. But for this software, they only give you unstandardized path coefficient. Okay? So this path coefficient can be positive or can be negative. If the path coefficient is negative, what it means is when price goes up, buy sales will go down. So the relationship is inverse. Price goes up, sales goes down. Here we have a positive beta value. When advertisement goes up, buy sales goes up. This is in the same direction, positive. And the third one, we have a negative 0.076. What it indicates is when the more hours you spend on doing sales, your buy sales goes down. So at the moment, we don't know whether the beta values are significant or not because we don't have the t values. So that's how you interpret the beta values. So the beta value, if it's greater than 0.2, they will be significant. Beta value greater than 0.2. Beta value from 0.1 to 0.19. Okay, 0.1 to 0.19, we call them marginal beta values. We are not sure yet. We will run a procedure called bootstrapping to confirm. Any beta value less than 0.1, they should not be significant. They might be significant if your sample size is 1,000 or 2,000. Other than that, path coefficient less than 0.1, they are actually very weak. Okay, they are very weak. Okay, so those are the way you can assess the beta value quickly. So the beta value can be negative, can also be positive. Okay. The third number you see here is inside the circle. They give you the R square. Okay, they give you the R square. So the R square is how much of the variance in the dependent variable explained by all three independent variables together. All three independent variables together explain 52.7% of the variance in buy sales. There are 47% unexplained variance. Okay, the total variance is 100%. Explained variance is R square. So 1 minus the R square, you get your unexplained variance. Why is there an unexplained variance of 47%? Is because there are other variables we have not included in the model. For example, competitor price, we have not included in the model. Competitor reaction, we have not included in the model. Economic condition, we have not included in the model. Okay, income level, we have not included in the model. So those are some variables we can include in the model to increase the explained variance. Okay. At the moment, we have 52.7% of the variance explained. Is this variance good or not good? It's difficult to say because the R square depends on two things. Number one is number of predictors you have in the model. Number of predictors you have in the model. Number two is your area of research. Okay, your area of research. In some areas of research, the R squares are higher. In some areas of research, the R squares are lower. So you have to also compare against your area of research. So two things. Model complexity or number of independent variables and area of research. Yeah. Any questions on the interpretation of the numbers shown in the result?
Halo, Prof.
Ya. Ya.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Ya, ya.
Saya dari Indonesia mau menanyakan nih, Prof. Bagaimana cara mencari nilai indirect influence dari variabel independen terhadap variabel independen? Iya.
Indirect itu.
Betul.
Sekarang ini direct saja.
Oke.
Esok, mediation, esok.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, any other questions on the interpretation of the number before? Ada lagi soalan? Okay.
Prof, means in the PLS we are not bothered about the standardized.
Unstandardized. We are not concerned about unstandardized. Social science management, we focus on the standardized data. Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay. So this is what we call as the graphical output from the results. If you want to see the text output, here, if you see here on the left, okay, here. Here we have report, we have Excel, we have HTML. Okay, report is like this. If you click the report, you will get hyperlink. Okay, can you move? Okay, this is the result you see in text form. Just now we saw was this. This is your graphical output. The same output can be given in your report, which will show like this. So if you want to see your R square, just click this button R square. They will show you R square and adjusted R square. Yeah. R square and adjusted R square. Okay. So if you want to see reliability, here we have single item, no point looking at this. We also have model fit, right? Okay. But this one is saturated model, so they can't calculate any estimated.
Ibu Nurul tertekan tu.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these are not very useful because they are all single item. Okay. So now we are looking at the path coefficient, right? So the same number you saw in the drawing, they are actually given in the text. So this is what we call as the text output. Okay, the text output. Okay. The other button we have is Excel. Okay. Excel, what Excel will do is if you click this button and click Start Export and save. They will save the entire output from your result into an Excel form like this. So if you want to see your path coefficient, just click this button. They will take you to your path coefficient, which is here. These are the path coefficient, right? Okay. to come back, you just click the navigation. So this is the report that you need to make your appendix. Okay, to make your appendix. So this is the result to make your appendix. If you have to look at the whole result, you can also look at complete. So if you click the button complete, you can see the whole result. Okay, this is Excel. This is Excel. Okay, the third output you have is HTML. Okay, HTML. So if you click this button, what will happen is they will open the result in your browser. And you can scroll down. These are the results that we got. Okay, slowly you can look at the result. So that's how they give you three different outputs. Number one is that you can look and see. Number two is in Excel. Number three is in HTML. Okay, which one you're comfortable with is up to you. Okay, so here 1, 2, and 3. And the last one is to export the result into R, another software called R. Okay, yeah. Any question on the output? How to export the output?
Boleh bertanya, Prof? Oke, jadi
Yes, Prof. Amin.
boleh bahasa Inggris, bahasa Indonesia boleh?
Any question, Prof?
Ada question nggak?
You can unmute yourself, Prof. Tak dengar,
Iya,
Prof.
saya unmute,
So,
tapi
unmute yourself. Tekan unmute, Prof.
Halo, kedengaran suara saya?
Okay.
Oke, terima kasih Prof. Ramaya.
Ya, dengar.
Hello. Can you explain for us, special for Indonesian student, sometimes still confused between coefficient in SPSS and coefficient in Pls. In SPSS, sometimes we calculate by Amos. Amos is calculate for SEM also. And student sometimes still confuse all difference between coefficient beta in SPSS and coefficient beta in Pls, because we know that Pls is standardized, and then SPSS unstandardized. Actually, Actually, in prediction, when we use the number for prediction, SPSS no problem. For example, we find 0.5, 1.5. This means B1 1.5 is variable X is going up 1%. Dependent variable going up 1.5%. This is Excel, SPSS. Yes, but Pls, because the number is coming from standardized, we can use the number for a prediction like SPSS. Please explain, Prof. Thank you.
Okay. Unstandardized is only useful if you have secondary data. Because secondary data, you want to write equation. But for those who are doing research in social science management, most of us are not interested in writing an equation. You just want to see the relationship between the independent and dependent. Okay, that's the first thing. So you don't actually write an equation. So here the interpretation, because they are standardized, what it means is when price goes up by 1 standard deviation, okay? When price goes up by 1 standard deviation, pie sales goes down by 0.462 standard deviation. So the standardized beta value, the interpretation is standardized. So it's 1 standard deviation change. Unstandardized is one unique change. So that's the difference between unstandardized and standardized. Okay. So in most research in social science management, you write hypothesis, and the hypothesis tells this: there's a positive relationship and or a negative relationship. Okay, so that's where we look at the sign to decide whether there's a positive relationship or negative relationship. So the equation is actually not required in that kind of testing. So we have, one is prediction, the other one is explanation. Most of us are doing research on explaining what is the effect of independent variable on dependent variable. Not saying that one unit change independent variable, how many unit change in the dependent variable. That's not the purpose of research in many social science management area.
Oke, terima kasih Prof.
So dia punya interpretation tidak sama. Okay, Dr. Yus, any other question before we look at the bootstrapping? Before we look at it.
Dalam chat box tak ada, Prof.
Dalam we will calculate t value based on the data. But in this software called Smart Pls, the standard errors are actually calculated from a sample called the bootstrap sample. Okay, the bootstrap sample. How the bootstrap sample works is something like this. Show you how the bootstrap sample works. That you understand why you get different numbers. So in bootstrapping, here we have the result between two variables, IQ and MR. We calculate the correlation between IQ and MR. We get 0.733. But this sample size is small, right? 6 cases only. So when your data is less than 30, data may not be normal. So we need to run a procedure called bootstrapping. What bootstrapping will do is, from the sample that you have, we will resample 500 times, okay? 500 times, or 5,000 times. So sample 1, we will select 6 cases randomly. 6 cases randomly. Pick one number, put back. Then pick another number, put back. So in the sample 1, we get number 6, number 4, number 3, number 5, number 2, and number 5. That's sample number 1. Okay. Sample number 2, we pick 3, 1, 3, 3, 5. Sample number 3, we pick 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4. So every time we pick a sample, they are randomly generated. So we do this 500 times, and we will calculate the standard error from this 500 sample. Okay. So every computer will start the process randomly. So each of us will get different standard errors. So how do they calculate the t-value is? The t-value is your correlation divided by the standard error you get from this 500. Okay? So if you rerun the bootstrapping, the standard error will also change. So that is why bootstrapping generates random sample. Okay. Why are we doing this? Is because when your data is not normal, your standard error can be inflated or deflated. Okay, inflated or deflated. So that is why we need to correct the standard error. Okay, we need to correct the standard error. That is what we are doing now in this software called Smart Pls. Okay, so we will run a procedure called calculate. We go to calculate bootstrapping. Okay, calculate bootstrapping. Okay, and they give you some. Okay. What is suggested is to have a resample of 5,000. This is given in the book by Hare 2017. So 5,000 resample. We will pick complete bootstrapping. What is the difference between basic and complete bootstrapping? You can look at it here. In basic bootstrapping, they give you only this, path coefficient, indirect effect, total effect, outer loadings, and outer weights. These are the only output will be given in basic. In the complete bootstrapping, they give you more output like the bootstrap for outer weights, bootstrap for R-square average weight. More output will be given. So that's why we normally complete. This interval method, we have 3 different methods, but most of the time people don't change. They only use this bias corrected and accelerated. Okay, so this one is a standard. And test type, we will change it to one tail. Okay, we will change it to one tail because we want to test relationship. Okay, so if you see one of the problems in many studies is this. When you get your result, let's say I show you this result. And okay. Okay. These are the 3 variables we have in the model. 3 variables pointed at satisfaction, satisfaction to intention. These are the model we want to test. And we write hypotheses, 4 hypotheses. System quality has a positive relationship with satisfaction. Service quality has a positive relationship with satisfaction. Information quality has a positive relationship with satisfaction. And satisfaction has a positive relationship with intention. Okay, so those are the 4 hypotheses we are writing. Please remember this. And we get a result like this. Let me show you. This is the result we get. Let's say alpha is 5%. Okay, alpha is 5%. Which variables are significant? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, Dr. Tew, this normality, normally in SPSS, we don't have a procedure for testing normality. So what we do is we run without bootstrapping. But if you see now, in most of the analysis in SPSS also, they have a procedure called bootstrapping already in the model. Okay, so let me show you that you can see. So if we go under any analysis, compare means, let's say independent sample t-test. If you see here now, they have incorporated bootstrap. So if your data is not normal, instead of changing from t-test to man-Whitney, you can still run t-test, but run bootstrapping. Okay, run bootstrapping. Now this is also available in SPSS. If you run regression, analyze regression. Previously, we don't have this, right? Bootstrapping.
Yeah.
So run regression with bootstrapping. If your data is not normal, just click the button bootstrapping. They will give you a result without bootstrapping. They will also give you a result with bootstrapping.
Means now we can directly.
Yeah. You can do it in
go to
SPSS.
the
Yes. If your data is not normal, also you can run. Just run the bootstrapping.
Okay, thank you.
They're already there in SPSS. In MOS also they already have. In Smart PLS also they use the same. Okay. So now back to the question. Okay, here we have 4 variables we are testing. Alpha is 5%. Alpha is 5%. We have 4 hypotheses. Which one is significant at 5%? Yes.
The last one, intention, right?
Ya, mana intention, Lee ya. The rest kita punya kawan-kawan di Indonesia. alpha 5%, Ryan, alpha 5%. Lagi. So I see you have some confusion. Okay. If you answered only intention is significant, satisfaction to intention, right? Satisfaction to intention, which is this one, right? You have major correction, because from the result you have three relationship which is significant. Three relationship which is significant. Number one is system to satisfaction, that's significant. Service to satisfaction, it is also significant. Satisfaction to intention is also significant. The problem is most of the workshop you attended, the instructors always tell you, look at the p-value directly. So you have p-value here 0.06, which is greater than 0.05. You have 0.08, which is greater than 0.05. But this is testing at two-tail hypothesis. But your hypothesis is not two-tail, right? It's one-tail. So you need to do manual division. 0.063, you divide by half. Then you get 0.037. If you divide this by half, you get 0.04. So this is significant. This is also significant at the one tail. Since you test at the two tail, this is not significant. This is also not significant. Okay. So we can also alternatively compare the t-values. For one tail t-value, the cutoff value is 1.645. 1.645. Anything greater than 1.645 is significant at the 5%. Anything less than 1.645 is not significant at the 5% level. So this is significant, and this is also significant. So three variables are significant. Any question?
Why can't we straight away adjust the one tail in our p-value to analyze initially when we generate the data?
SPSS and AMOS, you cannot do that.
Oh, okay.
SPSS and AMOS, you cannot do that. The software gives you two-tail p-values. Only in this software called Smart Pls, very recently they introduced this choice of one tail and two tail. Other software, they are all two-tail. Okay? Other software, they are all two-tail. And still people are making mistakes like this. Okay? At the PhD, we're not talking about undergraduate. This is quite serious. Understanding of one-tail and two-tail test. Any other question on how to interpret the result here? Anybody? This software here, option now. They will test against 1.645, the difference between the one tail and the two tail. This is the only software now which allows you to do the option, one tail and two tail. AMOS and SPSS, by default, they test two tail. And this is a common problem I see even in manuscripts submitted by many researchers from developing countries. They still don't adjust for the one tail by dividing into half. Okay, dividing into half. So now we have a one tail here. this will give you the p-value directly. Okay? Just click the start calculation. Click the start calculation. So you get some results, right? Now the numbers all change into t values. T values. Okay. Again, like I already mentioned, the t value that you get in your screen will be slightly higher than or slightly lower than the t value I get. I get 6.9. You may get 7 or less than 6.9. Correct?
Ya, Prof. Ya.
Lebih tinggi atau lebih rendah lah.
Lebih
Kalau
tinggi.
saya run lagi sekali ya, calculate Pls Algorithm. Calculate bootstrapping. If I run again bootstrapping, what will happen is now I get a different number. Because the resampling is random. Okay, resampling is random. Okay. So we see now I get a 6.950. Okay, 6.950. Every time you run, you get a different number. So one of the advice is before you report, save the Excel file. Because I've seen cases, the number in the table is different from the number in the text, and the numbers are also different in the appendix because the text they copy from their seniors. Dia terlupa edit. Okay? The table tu betul lah, tapi dia punya appendix yang lama. Okay? This is what really happens in Viva. So and then the candidate will say saya terlepas pandang. So kalau saya examiner, saya kata saya pun terlepas pandang. Kita jumpa lagi dalam setahun. Jawapan saya lah. Okay. At the level of study called PhD, you have to be very meticulous. That means everything must be corroborated. You have to check your appendix, your text and the table, they must jive. That is a serious concern. If the numbers do not tally, that already tells us you are not a very meticulous person. So this is very important. So I need to emphasize this because when you run bootstrapping, every time you run, you get different numbers. So if you reported today and you did not save the output, tomorrow you get a different number. Okay? Tomorrow you get a different number. Then you have to rewrite again, sebab the number akan berubah. Okay? That's very important. Okay, this is what we call as the text output. So the same text output, if you want to see, you click the report, and you click the report, you will get now the text output. If you see now in version 3.3.3, they have color coding because many people have problem with numbers. Lebih besar dari, lebih kecil dari pun tak pandai lagi. So now they give you color coding. Hopefully you are not color blind. Green means significant, red means not significant. Okay? Green means significant, red means not significant. So you can see the first relationship. Advertisement to pie sales is significant. Hours to pie sale is not significant. Price to pie sales is significant. So H1 is significant. H3 is not significant. That's how you interpret the result from this text. Okay. And previously, what we do is we will look at the t value and then put 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, bukan? Itu tidak diterima lagi ya, no more acceptable. Now you have to report p value to 3 decimal place. You need to also report the confidence interval bias corrected. You must also report the effect sizes. So all three must be reported before we can conclude whether the hypothesis test is significant or not significant. Any questions? Any questions? How do we compare copy and paste this for writing your report. Okay, this is your path coefficient. Just click the Excel format. Click the Excel format. Open your Excel and paste it in the second column. So you will get this, right? This is your result called path coefficient. After that, what you need to do is from the same output, we have confidence interval and confidence interval bias corrector. We don't take the confidence interval. Go to the confidence interval bias corrector. Okay, you have the lower limit, which is 5%, and the upper limit, which is 95%. You only need column number 1 and column number 2. Okay, 1 and 2. But we cannot copy 1 and 2 separately. So click the Excel format and paste it somewhere here. Okay. Highlight this 5% and 95%, paste it. 5% and 95%. So we will remove it. So we already have the beta value, the p value, the confidence interval. The last information we need is this one, f square, effect size, f square. So if we click the f square, this is the column we need, the first column. This is the confidence interval, t-test and all, we don't need the first column. So just click the Excel format, paste it in the table here. We only need this column, which is the effect size. Copy this. Paste it here. What we do is we do data. Okay, this sample mean, this column, sample mean, is not required because this is the 5,000 bootstrap we ran, average of the 5,000 bootstrap. So this column we will delete. Okay, delete. So the standard deviation, t value, this is IFL, First column we will label as hypothesis. Second column will be relationship. So this will be H1, H2, and the rest we will change them to 3 decimal places, so that they are so that's how you can present your table in Smart Pls analysis with the complete reporting. So here when we have p value which is 0, you report p less than 0.001. Whether it's significant. So this is how you can report your full structural model with the p-value, confidence interval, bias corrected, and also the effect size. Okay. So here we can see this is significant. Let me highlight now. Significant. This is significant. Okay. Lower limit, upper limit does not contain a 0. And effect size effect size, we have 3, right? This is the cutoff value for your effects. They are medium effect. Anything 0.35 and above, they have large effect. Okay? So here we can conclude we have large effect. We have large effect, and this one is no effect. Okay? So that's how you interpret the effect size. So the three criteria, p-value, confidence interval, and the effect size, they corroborate. No? So we have more confidence in our data. So that's how you can report. Why we don't trust this column? No? You see here, we have been using this p-value for a long time, but more recently, many journals don't accept this anymore because people are manipulating the p-value by increasing sample size. You have 200 sample not significant, go and collect another 200. Not significant, go and collect 200. Huh? Once you reach 1,000 sample, anything will be significant. Anything will be significant. Huh? So that's where the standard error plays a role. Okay? Standard error plays a role. So that's how you can report a full structural model with everything complete. No? This is the most complete reporting procedure we have currently for smart data. Any question?
Assalamualaikum Prof.
Ya.
Saya masih confused untuk dalam menentukan small effect, medium effect, large effect.
0.02 sampai 0.14. Ini number from 0.02 sampai 0.14, they are small. 0.15 sampai 0.34, moderate. 0.35. Boleh? So ini 0.682, bukan? Dia dekat sini ya?
Yes.
Large. 0.451 is large juga. Kalau dia sini 0.12, it will be small. If it is 0.20, it will be here, right? Medium. Antara sini. Any other questions on the interpretation? No?
So means, Prof, now with this, we can analyze that advertisement go to the pi scale is significant and it has a large effect. So means it is more informative.
Very important. So here now the term used in the literature is like this. This is called, let me type here. Okay, so now in the literature we have two types of significance. One is called statistical, the other one is called so this one is p-value is statistical significance, whereas effect size is substantive significance. Whether the variable is important or not. Whether the variable is important or not. Sometimes what happens is your p-value is significant, but the effect size it says no effect. That can happen.
Indonesia dengan Papua Nugini terletak di Sultan salah satu distrik di Kabupaten Merauke. Sultan dikelilingi oleh kawasan taman nasional.
Itu maknanya Prof, walaupun
and 0.0. They are not important. They are only significant because of sample size. So ada orang yang size 1000 sample, right? Everything will be significant. Sebab now you use this three lah.
So this one, large effect or small effect kena bring in the discussion.
Actually, you can focus on which variable is more important, less important. Maka yang ini.
So Minnesota, kami didampingi oleh Ibu Nilu Puspa Jayaningsih atau yang akrab dipanggil Ibu
As
Puspa.
long as
Ibu
small
Puspa
effect is
adalah
okay,
Kepala Pos Lintas
as long
Batas
as
Negara
small
Sultan.
effect, that's
Bersama
already an
beliau,
effect.
kami
Yeah.
berburu hanya melihat
Anything
aktivitas
less
di
than
sekitar
0.02
lokasi.
no effect.
Ini MM itu meridian monumen. Jadi sepanjang dari sampai di lokasinya ada 52.
Tapi macam hypothesis set small effect tu it happens juga.
Kalau sample size besar, sample size besar, yang ni tak payah test lah, mesti signifikan kan. Tapi katakan sample size is 1000, your square root of n tu jadi tak sangat besar kan. So the standard error become very small. That's where the problem often get. So there's a paper here, which is interesting. So these are some of the that is already. Your hypothesis already tells you blank, one tail or two tail, right? When you write there's a positive distinctive equivalent one tail, so you need to test at one tail. In the reference article, you can see
Sementara ini jam 8 sampai jam 5 sore.
230, yeah? Look at the paper 230. This is the title of the paper published in 2014 on large sample size and the p-value problem. So big this is issue with the sample size.
Juga diharapkan menjadi pusat ekonomi di perbatasan. Pembangunan zona penunjang seperti Tugu 0 km dan pertokohan menuju ekonomi dari sektor padat dan pariwisata.
Number
Hal ini
130,
sejalan dengan nama
number
yang
130.
dicanangkan oleh Presiden
This is the paper that talks about effect size.
dari PDN. Sebagai
Using
bangsa yang
effect
besar,
size or why the
menjadikan
p-value
pos lintas
is not
batas
enough.
negara
So those are the
sebagaimana
papers that
terdapat
predict
dalam
about
pernyataan
this
Pak
new
Indonesia
development on why we don't trust PDN. Why we don't trust PDN. Then your hypothesis, when you write your hypothesis in papers, it's already written as like one tail or two tail, right?
Sudah lama bukan di sini.
So if you see, this is deviation, sorry. This is already one tail, right? Okay. Which tells you your hypothesis is one tail, positive or negative. So when you run your bootstrapping, you you have to report the bootstrapping this month, 5% and 25%. So you have that statement in your page. Yeah. Any other questions on the interpretation of the model, the reporting? Ada? Ini ada?
Ada Prof, dalam chat pun tak ada.
So kita stop sini lah hari ini ya.
Boleh.
Okay. Tomorrow morning we will start with the full data variable model. Tomorrow morning we will start with the discussion of model like this. So please try to be on time. We will start at 9 a.m. If you are late, then you will miss the first part because they are actually continuity. So the whole morning tomorrow we will look at a full model, which is multiple item scale, how to validate them, how to report them, and so on. So I will explain about how to evaluate from normality up to reporting with a full structural model. So the first half of the morning will be focused on this. So if you are late, then you will miss out on the first part. So I hope you are on time, 9 a.m. Okay.
Okay, Prof. Thank you so much. Okay, hope to see you all on time 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much.
Waktu Malaysia, 9 waktu Malaysia.
9 a.m. waktu Malaysia, bukan Indonesia.
Bukan Indonesia.
And then not Pakistani time.
Oh, kena sebut juga.
Brother, geng-geng Pakistan. Okay, thank you so much, and then see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
So see you tomorrow.
Happy weekend. Thank you, Prof. Yus.
Terima kasih. Thank you, Prof. Yus.
Bye-bye.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Thank you.
Hopefully pelajar-pelajar Indonesia ni bolehlah follow.
Ya, Prof.
Silakan, Pak.
Kami follow Prof, cuman memang it's not that easy to understand, but I try my best.
Yes,
Okay, Prof.
that's what we call PhD process. PhD is a process.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, nothing easy in the world except you learn.
Yes, Prof.
Okay,
Siap,
good.
Prof.
Do that, Prof.
Okay. Bulan depan defense proposal ya.
Amin.
Amin, Prof. Baik, Prof.
Prof.
Insyaallah.
You, Prof. So I'm sure you're confident already after you attend
Yep.
this workshop.
Okay, Prof.
Okay, see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Malaysia time.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Ya, Prof.
Selamat hari Minggu.
Hari
Prof
Minggu
dan
juga.
Prof. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Kalau tanya materi, yang mana yang tanya materi? Oh, dari dalam ada dari dalam.
Di kawasan wisata Taman Impian Jaya Ancol diberlakukan kebijakan ganjil genap.
DKM itu apa tidak?
Kerumunan seiring dimulainya kembali objek wisata di masa
Oh, ya diskon. Oh, itu masih jauh lagi.
akan disampaikan kereta destinasi Ranah langsung dari kawasan Taman Impian Jaya Ancol Jakarta. Destinasi bagaimana penerapan ganjil genap di kawasan Ancol pada saat ini?
Oh, udah masuk dia di Bogor PLN.
Ya, Pak, saya ganjil dan pemerintah. ataupun kendaraan yang berplat nomor ganjil, artinya sesuai dengan tanda juga masih mencoba untuk masuk ke kawasan wisata Ancol, sehingga langsung dihampiri oleh sosialisasi himbauan setelah itu diputar balik oleh petugas. Selain melakukan putar balik kepada para kendaraan yang tidak sesuai plat nomornya dengan tanggal hari ini, petugas juga melakukan pengecekan suhu tubuh kepada seluruh pengunjung yang masuk ke Ancol, serta melakukan pengecekan terkait dengan aplikasi Peduli Lindungi yang menjadi syarat wajib bagi para pengunjung sebelum masuk ke kawasan wisata Ancol untuk kebutuhan tracing. Dan untuk kebijakan ganjil genap yang diterapkan di tempat wisata ini memang berbeda dengan kebijakan ganjil genap yang diterapkan di jalan raya. Artinya untuk kebijakan ganjil genap yang diterapkan di tempat wisata ini memang tidak ada sanksi yang dikenakan bagi para kendaraan yang terkena ganjil genap, hanya akan dilakukan putar balik oleh petugas. Namun bagi para pengunjung yang sudah terlanjur membeli tiket secara daring untuk bisa masuk ke Ancol hari ini, jangan khawatir karena para pengunjung tetap bisa mengunjungi Ancol, namun dengan catatan kendaraannya ini tidak bisa masuk ke kawasan Ancol. Namun untuk itu pihak pengelola Ancol pun sudah menyediakan 2 kantong parkir bagi pengunjung yang kendaraannya ini terkena ganjil genap. Ada 2 lokasi, yaitu di kawasan Highline serta di kawasan Pantai Karnaval. Nantinya para pengunjung yang kendaraannya ini terkena ganjil genap bisa memarkirkan kendaraannya di 2 lokasi tersebut. Setelah itu akan dijemput oleh shuttle bus yang sudah disediakan untuk bisa berkeliling di kawasan Ancol. Dan terkait dengan penerapan ganjil genap yang saat ini diterapkan di sejumlah tempat wisata, tujuannya ini untuk menekan keramaian yang dikhawatirkan terjadi di sejumlah tempat wisata karena saat ini sudah mulai dibuka kembali secara bertahap. Namun pada sore hari ini kami memantau dengan adanya ganjil genap memang cukup efektif dalam menekan jumlah wisatawan yang berkunjung ke Ancol. Terbukti kalau kita memantau di sejumlah tempat-tempat wisata atau unit rekreasi Ancol seperti pantai, saat ini pun juga dalam kondisi sepi. Untuk jumlah kunjungannya pada hari ini pun masih di bawah angka 10% dari kapasitas 25% yang diterapkan oleh pihak pengelola. Dan tentu diharapkan dengan adanya kebijakan ganjil genap ini bisa dipatuhi oleh para wisatawan yang hendak berkunjung ke kawasan Ancol. Zakia, selain aturan ganjil genap, kemudian apa saja syarat masuk Ancol bagi para pengunjung? Ya, di tengah penerapan PPKM Level 3, Ancol memang sudah dibuka kembali untuk kegiatan wisata sejak tanggal 14 September kemarin. Namun ada sejumlah persyaratan yang perlu diperhatikan oleh para pengunjung ketika hendak berwisata ke Ancol. Pertama, para pengunjung ini harus sudah divaksin COVID-19 minimal penyuntikan dosis pertama. Setelah itu untuk usianya maksimal atau minimal usia 12 tahun dan maksimal di bawah usia 60 tahun yang dapat berkunjung ke kawasan wisata Ancol, serta harus menyertakan diri dengan aplikasi Peduli Lindungi yang memang menjadi syarat masuk ke kawasan Ancol. Setelah itu, para pengunjung juga diharuskan memesan tiket secara daring maksimal H-1 sebelum waktu kunjungan. Ketika berada di Ancol juga ada sejumlah pembatasan yang diterapkan oleh pihak pengelola, yaitu ketika berwisata di kawasan pantai, para pengunjung juga dilarang untuk berenang, menggelar tikar ataupun piknik karena dikhawatirkan dapat menimbulkan kerumunan. Serta untuk kapasitas pengunjung perharinya juga dibatasi maksimal 25%. Pada pembukaan uji coba tahap pertama ini, Ancol juga masih membatasi unit rekreasi yang dibuka. Saat ini masih sejumlah unit rekreasi yang berada di luar ruangan seperti Dunia Fantasi, Ancol, kemudian Alias
bring Indonesia to the world. Let your program capture voice features.
Halo, selamat sore pemirsa Kurang Sekali. Saya Zaki Arfan dapat kembali menjumpai Anda dalam program untuk hari ini. Kami akan menghadirkan berbagai informasi terkini untuk Anda dan berikut di antaranya. Tersangka penistaan agama Muhammad Fikri diduga dianiaya Irjen Polisi Napoleon Bonaparte di dalam ruang isolasi tahanan Bares Krim Polri. Irjen Polisi Napoleon adalah tahanan kasus suap Joko Chandra. Sembilan tenaga kesehatan korban kekerasan kelompok kriminal bersenjata atau KKB Papua berhasil dievakuasi. Para korban kekejian masih mengalami trauma. Kecelakaan beruntun truk kontainer yang mengalami remblong menabrak 8 kendaraan di lintasan Sumatera Kabupaten Agam, Sumatera Barat. Korban mengalami luka-luka dan patah tulang dan telah dilarikan ke puskesmas terdekat. Kekerasan verbal dialami sejumlah tenaga kesehatan korban kekejian kelompok kriminal bersenjata atau KKB di distrik Tidore, Pegunungan Bintang, Papua. Meskipun kini mereka telah berhasil dievakuasi dari lokasi. 9 dari 11 orang tenaga kesehatan yang bertugas di distrik Tidore, Kabupaten Pegunungan Bintang, Papua pada Jumat siang berhasil dievakuasi menggunakan helikopter dan TNI Polri. Satu di antara 11 orang tenaga kesehatan ini bernama Gabriela Milan ditemukan meninggal dunia saat melarikan diri dari kejaran kelompok kriminal tersebut. Sementara satu orang tenaga kesehatan lainnya bernama Gerald Supoi sejak kejadian penyerangan KKB hilang dan belum ditemukan. Salah seorang tenaga kesehatan Marcelino Pola Aminullah memisahkan kekejaman kelompok kriminal bersenjata yang menyerang para tenaga kesehatan. Peristiwa penyerangan di kompleks puskesmas terjadi pada Senin 13 September lalu. Selain menganiaya para tenaga kesehatan, KKB juga membakar puskesmas, Bank Papua, Pasar Ciliong, serta rumah warga.
Kejadian semakin brutal karena jumlah mereka semakin banyak. Akhirnya suster-suster itu tidak berdaya lagi. Mereka semakin lemah, akhirnya mereka pingsan. Dalam keadaan pingsan mereka dipikir bahwa mereka sudah meninggal, sehingga terpaksa mereka didorong lagi ke dalam jurang yang lebih dalam. Kedalaman jurang itu sekitar 300 sampai 400 meter. Dalam keadaan itu mereka telah turun ke bawah, kemudian mengambil suster Andi dan suster Chris masih bisa bertahan. Ketika ini mereka menyisir dari mereka dengan menyembunyi di sebelah-sebelah. Suster yang lain sudah tidak walaupun dalam keadaan sadar tetapi sudah tidak berdaya. Nyambungnya di pohon sehingga mereka itu terbawa lalu membunuhnya secara baik.
Kakak dan ibunda suster Gabriela memohon evakuasi Gabriela bisa dilaksanakan dengan cepat. Pihak keluarga suster Gabriela juga meminta pemerintah dan TNI Polri menjamin keselamatan para tenaga kesehatan yang bertugas atas nama kemanusiaan di Papua. Pihak keluarga Gabriela merasa terpukul atas kematian Gabriela dengan cara tragis. Ibu korban meminta agar TNI Polri bisa lebih cepat mengevakuasi putri mereka agar dapat segera dimakamkan dengan baik. Hingga hari evaluasi yang akan dilaksanakan oleh TNI dengan menggunakan helikopter dari TNI batal dilakukan hari ini karena Jumat kemarin saat evakuasi pertama, helikopter ditembaki oleh separatis teroris Papua saat mendarat di Video. Sementara itu kakak korban, Irawan Setio Putra, merasa sedih dan gerak dengan kepergian satu-satunya adik korban. Sebelumnya, ia meminta para pegiat HAM di Papua bicara dan jangan membisik masyarakat pendatang dipilih oleh kakak. Alhamdulillah kami sudah dengan sakit-sakit sekali mau ada kematian khusus untuk anak bayi bisa segera bisa di sini. 17 cendrawasih Maijen TNI Ignatius Yogo Priyono memerintahkan pasukan menangkap para pelaku penyerangan para tenaga kesehatan di Timur, hidup atau mati. Perintah Pangdam 17 cendrawasih ini langsung disikapi Kasdan 17 cendrawasih Brigjen TNI Bambang Wisnuhadi. Bambang Wisnuhadi mengecam aksi brutal para anggota kelompok teroris separatis Papua, pimpinan Wamen Papua. Bahkan aksi para teroris di Papua ini dinyatakan sebagai aksi pengecut dengan memburu para tenaga kesehatan yang tidak berdosa yang bekerja hanya demi kemanusiaan. Aksi kelompok teroris separatis Papua dipilih perhubungan desa telah menewaskan Suster Gabriela yang bertugas di Puskesmas Timur. Diperkirakan masih banyak lagi korban yang belum ditemukan. Pasukan TNI masih terus berupaya mencari para tenaga kesehatan yang belum ditemukan. Bahkan saat proses pencarian, pasukan TNI Polri masih ditembaki oleh kelompok teroris separatis Ngalin Tukar. Saat ini pasukan TNI Polri telah mengevakuasi 9 orang tenaga kesehatan, 5 diantaranya mengalami luka akibat siksaan yang dilakukan oleh kelompok teroris separatis Ngalin Tukar, pimpinan Wamen.
Kalau mereka menemukan dari tembakan, inilah bukti nyata yang tidak terbantahkan. Ya, betapa kekejaman, kebrutalan, ya, dan kebiadaban. Ya, AKB ini atau KST sudah membawa batas-batas kemanusiaan. Oleh karenanya, petugas kesehatan, ya, melakukan kemanusiaan kita yang sudah menghentikan diri dan lebih mengorbankan diri mereka, meninggalkan keluarga untuk bertugas di dalam terpencil, ya, untuk melayani, membantu, merawat masyarakat yang sakit di dalam video. Tapi kenapa mereka justru yang menjadi korban tindakan yang sangat keji? Jadi sekali lagi kami sangat mendukung. Dan saya bilang ini tindakan pengecut, tindakan yang sangat mengejutkan.
Informasi Muhammad Hezmi melaporkan tudingan polisi melaporkan 5 partai atas tuduhan penganiayaan selama berada di tahanan Baris Krim Polri. Kami akan hadirkan informasinya sesaat lagi.
Yang IT sekarang, ada di IT sekarang. IT dia punya bisnis IT itu nelayan-nelayan. Nah, itu dia punya juga. Dia sama-sama Purano, Bu Asistia di pengawasan perusahaan-perusahaan Indonesia. Nah, dia saudara sama-sama Bu Asistia. Bagian apa itu Bu Asistia? Nah, dia
mungkin dibiayain Pak ini ya, ada sahamnya di situ ini Kak.
Cara herbal meredakan batuk. Pilih herbal, jangan yang asal. OB herbal. Seiring dengan perubahan dunia film fotografi, kami membantu mengubah dunia sebagai pratasa era digital. Dalam layanan kesehatan, kami merevolusi diagnostik dengan mengangkat teknologi AI kami. Tapi mengapa berhenti di situ? Saat kami bisa memfokuskan keahlian AI dan IoT pada inovasi bisnis, membantu mengatasi beberapa tantangan terberat di tempat kerja. Dalam hal inovasi untuk dunia yang sehat dan kehidupan yang berkelanjutan, kami never stop. Fujifilm Value for Innovation. Antangin Habatus Sauda dengan Habatus Sauda yang baik. Antangin Habatus Sauda bantu pelihara daya tahan tubuh dan redakan gejala masuk angin. Antangin Habatus Sauda.
Di minggu pagi ini, TSDN Healthy akan mengajak Anda menyusuri kawasan Pelawai, Jakarta Selatan untuk mencicipi beberapa makanan dan ala Jepang yang akan memanjakan lidah. Tasty and Healthy, I Love Japanese Cuisine. Besok jam 7 pagi. Sushi Cekoma, hari Sabtu jam 8 malam.
How's it going? Kamu mau beli kasih?
Otomatis Mario.
Jangan pintar pandai. Masih di rumah aja bersama Lovely Coffee. Every morning, every Tersangka kasus penistaan agama Muhammad PC alias Muhammad Osman diduga dianiaya di rumah tahanan Baris Krim Polri oleh Irjen Polisi Napoleon Bonaparte yang juga menjadi tahanan kasus suap Joko Chandra. Kepala Biro Penerangan Masyarakat Divisi Humas Polri, Brigjen Rusdi Hartono mengatakan, Muhammad Osman alias Muhammad PC sudah membuat laporan ke Baris Krim pada 26 Agustus lalu. Saat polisi menangkap penyidikan terus lanjut. Kasus ini pun dinaikkan status penanganan perkara ke tahap penyidikan. Kepolisian akan melakukan gelar perkara untuk mengetahui tersangka di balik kasus ini. Penganiayaan terhadap Muhammad PC di dalam tahanan diduga dilakukan Irjen Polisi Napoleon Bonaparte yang merupakan tahanan kasus suap Joko Chandra. Kabar Reskrim Polri Irjen Polisi Agus Andrianto menegaskan, kasus ini pasti akan diusut tuntas, bahkan sudah ada 3 saksi yang diperiksa yang terkait dengan peristiwa pemukulan oleh Irjen Polisi Napoleon Bonaparte terhadap Muhammad PC yang diduga telah terjadi beberapa waktu lalu pada 26 Agustus 2021 pada saat mereka berada di ruang isolasi tahanan Baris Krim Polri untuk menjalani karantina kesehatan. Muhammad PC atau Muhammad Osman ditangkap dan dijebloskan ke tahanan Baris Krim pada 24 Agustus 2021.
Nanti akan menjadi tersangka. Beberapa hari ke depan, penyidik akan melakukan gelar perkara dan menentukan tersangkanya. Kalau sampai sekarang, penyidik belum bisa siapa tersangkanya. Nanti beberapa hari ke depan kita akan penentuan tersangka, kita akan tahu siapa tersangka. Kita akan tahu.
Saat kejadian, jalan sedang ramai. Peristiwa bermula saat truk kontainer mengalami remblong di kawasan penurunan Sungai Puluh. Akibatnya truk kontainer yang membawa sembako ini menyenggol mobil yang sedang parkir dan bus di depannya hingga masuk sawah. Truk ini juga menyeret minibus berwarna putih masuk kolam. Belum ada informasi korban jiwa, namun sopir truk saat ini sudah diamankan, sementara penumpang bus mengalami luka-luka dan telah dilarikan ke rumah sakit. Selain kendaraan, warung yang berada di pinggir jalan juga mengalami kerusakan.
Mungkin ada tambahan Pak Sofyan, saya usul saya nyari kemarin. Melihat kan judulnya semua peluang dan ada mitigasi di sini ya saya tadi kelihatannya yang perlu dipertajam Pak yang merupakan mitigasi hubungan dari sisi berapa kebutuhan tersebut banding menggunakan sehingga kalau dijelaskan bisa dilihat ini sebagai ancaman atau kira-kira sangat menguntungkan bagi sehingga perlu itu yang saya lihat yang merupakan apa yang perlu diungkap.
Informasi Panglima Komando Armada 1 mengecek langsung di Laut Natuna Utara terkait adanya kapal perang Cina dan karyawan penyedia kapal bersenjata.
Atau dispute keuangan.
How's it going? Kalau mau dikasih ngapain di rumah aja bersama Lovely Coffee. Ini rahasia saya. Cuma enak sol yang ada ekstrak buat seafoodnya. Bantu tangkap alias beras.
Ini batu jago masuk otak saya.
Berikan minum Entasol. Gimana dengan Anda? Entasol. Teman-teman suka bingung milih susu. Simple kok. Pastikan bisa dukung kecerdasan dan pertumbuhan anak tubuhnya. Aku sih pilih Moringa. Dan habisin berpilihan. Karena waktu tak bisa kembali. Moringa. Seiring dengan perubahan dunia film fotografi, kami memulai mengubah dunia sebagai bangsa era digital. Dalam layanan kesehatan, kami merevolusi diagnostik dengan menerapkan teknologi AI kami. Apa yang mengapa berhenti di situ? Saat kami bisa memfokuskan kamera AI dan IoT pada inovasi bisnis, membantu mengatasi beberapa tantangan terberat. Dalam hal inovasi untuk dunia yang sehat dan kehidupan yang berkelanjutan, kami never stop. Fujifilm, value from innovation. Herbal aja. Herbal. Cara herbal meredakan batu. Pilih herbal, jangan yang asal. Herbal.
Walau di paten sebelum mata, kopi semangat tak pernah patah. Walau mereka berjujur buruk, tapi tak pernah mengeluh. Walau tidak sedikit yang fungsi, tapi bisa memberi banyak prestasi. 9 medali Paralimpiade dipersembahkan, bukti mereka mendongkrak keterbatasan. Saksikan kisah atlet penyandang disabilitas. Renew to Paralympians, para pendongkrak batas. Live, jam 7 malam ini. Prime Time News, setiap hari jam setengah 6 sore.
How's it going? Kalau mau dikasih, pinter pandai. Pemirsa, kapal perang China yang melintas di perairan Natuna Utara saat ini direncanakannya patroli di pelabuhan Natuna. Panglima Komando Armada 1 langsung mengecek ke Natuna Utara dan mengatakan kapal-kapal asing itu melintasi zona internasional dan melintas secara damai. Rekaman video nelayan yang memperlihatkan kapal perang China Kunming 172 melihat di wilayah perairan Natuna Utara pada 13 September lalu sontak menjadi perhatian halayak di Indonesia. Kehadiran kapal perang China di wilayah laut Indonesia itu membuat nelayan-nelayan Natuna resah dan meminta TNI dan Bakamla untuk memperkeruh patroli agar mereka merasa aman saat terjadi ikan. Menurut nelayan, saat itu ada 6 kapal yang masuk perairan Natuna Utara, 1 kapal induk, 3 kapal perang, dan kapal Coast Guard. Dan dari dalam kapal, nelayan melihat ada banyak pesawat tempur. Wilayah laut Natuna Utara yang berdekatan dengan zona sengketa di Laut Cina Selatan membuat seringkali kapal asing ditakutkan masuk ke wilayah laut Natuna Utara. Bahkan kabarnya ada beberapa nelayan asing yang bebas berkeliaran dan mencari ikan di perairan Natuna Utara. Respon kabar tersebut, TNI AL melakukan patroli ke wilayah Natuna. Pangkop Armada 1 Laksamana Muda TNI Arsyad Abdullah langsung membantah kabar adanya ribuan kapal nelayan asing masuk ke wilayah laut Indonesia. Arsyad menyebut adalah hal biasa jika ada beberapa kapal negara asing yang melaksanakan lintas darat di perairan Natuna.
TNI dan kapal yang melaksanakan waspada terhadap kapal kapal yang sedang melintas di perairan internasional, karena ZEE ataupun landas kontinen adalah merupakan perairan internasional di mana merupakan zona lintas damai dari negara-negara yang akan melintas di perairan tersebut.
Namun diakui adanya kapal induk Amerika Serikat yang melintas menuju Singapura. Namun keberadaan kapal perang milik Amerika Serikat ini dalam perlintasan damai dan terus diawasi TNI AL.
Ya betul. Jadi kapal perang atau kapal induk Amerika sering melintas di laut Natuna Selatan. Jadi dia Singapura ataupun dari Singapura menuju ke Amerika. Kita sering mendeteksi adanya kapal perang Cina, khususnya 2 minggu yang lalu ada laporan saya bahwa unsur-unsur yang sedang melaksanakan patroli di Natuna Utara mendeteksi adanya USS itu musuh yang mendekat. Dan sedang kita melaksanakan sailing sampai di luar dari setting kita.
Pemerintah dan TNI tentu tidak boleh berdiam diri saat kapal negara asing masuk tanpa izin ke wilayah kedaulatan laut Indonesia. TNI AL dan Bakamla harus berada di barisan paling depan untuk memastikan kedaulatan negara ini terus terjaga. Aparat hendaknya memperkuat patroli untuk menjamin keamanan dari nelayan Indonesia saat mencari nafkah di perairan Indonesia. Tim Liputan Metro TV. DPR menganggap serius keberadaan kapal perang China di Laut Natuna. DPR mengusulkan agar TNI juga konsisten menggelar latihan dan patroli di batas-batas kontinen di wilayah perairan kita. Saat ini kami sudah bersama dengan Panglima Komando Armada 1 Laksamana Muda Arsyad Abdullah. Selamat sore Pak Arsyad. Pak Arsyad, kemarin Anda langsung begitu mengecek kondisi di Laut Natuna Utara. Benarkah Pak Arsyad ini ada kapal asing di sana dari pantauan Anda?
Betul, Satya. Jadi kemarin tepatnya tanggal 17 September saya melaksanakan patroli menggunakan pesawat seri Angkatan Laut untuk memantau secara langsung dari udara situasi di Laut Natuna Utara. Dan pada saat kita melaksanakan pengamatan dari udara, tidak ditemukan adanya ribuan kapal ikan asing. Yang terpantau hanya KRI Jadi yang muridnya di plan sementara kapal tracker, ada kapal kabur, atau komunitas ada 3 kapal dagang. Kemudian
Kalau lewat tanah perusahaan PLN 3 hari selesai. Kalau orang lain 30 hari, lu nggak mikir.